Good evening, everybody. Can you all hear me okay? Just want to do a quick check before I start with the stream for tonight. We're making a few adjustments. Some of you might have noticed. I've got a slightly transparent background. It's the first try setup with a green screen. Tonight, trying to step up our Twitch stream game. So yeah. Hello, Bartholomew Music. So everything's loud and clear. You can hear me, the music. Stream's going okay. Alright, I just need 1 minute here. Right. Thank you. Glad to hear it. We worked hard to get the new setup to work. Okay. Green screen might be a little bit fuzzy. We're still working on that. Banged it together today. So if the screen drops, everything's going to get really, really funny, I suppose. And maybe a part of my head's going to become transparent tonight. So, yeah, okay. If there's anything up tonight, people, please say it to me in the chat because I don't hear the end result on this end. Thank you, Rika. Thanks. Glad to hear it. Okay, because I noticed for the last time that I did a stream with this, I listened back to it on the recorded video and the music was incredibly quiet. I found that a real shame because a lot of effort went into the music. All right, everybody, I'm just going to wait another 2 or 3 minutes before we start because some people think we only go online at 7:30. So yeah, just a little recap. So I think it was like 2 weeks ago, I've lost track. I started building VJ software inside of Cables GL with music being with music in Ableton Live, made by Obverse, a friend of mine. He's got some really cool stuff coming out. So basically the MIDI data that you see there in Ableton Live is driving the visuals right now for the people that didn't catch the last stream. So the last stream was just pretty much like kind of setting up an infrastructure, like a way to get that data in and to be able to use it in a way to animate things. So as you can see, right there on the screen, things are occurring when there's a kick or a snare or a hi-hat. To be honest, I've not actually looked that much into the patch. I wanted to kind of keep it real. Today I've been thinking an awful lot about what I can do to try and go further with the visuals because yeah, now the framework's kind of in place and you know, it's okay what we've got there, but actually when I look back at it today I was like, visuals could actually be a lot better, but with a live stream, yeah, you know, we have to just make do with what we've got basically. So yeah, so today I'm actually going to be focusing more on some visual stuff, but I'm definitely going to be using the visuals to drive it, but I think I'm going to be starting a little bit from scratch because the way I want to do this with the VJ software is just basically, you know, I want to experiment. I want to try some things out, and each one of these things that I'm doing now is a kind of idea, and all of these can be combined or dropped. You know, just because you go through a creative process doesn't mean that what you come up with is something you're going to keep. As we say a lot of the time, sometimes you have to kill your darlings, basically. All right, so I'm just going to go off camera and take off my sweater. It's getting warm in here. I'll be back in a moment. All right. Okay, there we go. So I've got my Atari shirt on for tonight, for good luck. Okay. Let's go over here. Let's do a quick reload. All right. So we got 11 people in, 12. All right, cool. I'm going to press stop on live and we're going to officially start the stream. So I'm just going to disconnect this piece here. All right. Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Twitch stream. Now I'm completely going to start. So this is the second part in building some VJ software with Cables GL and Ableton Live, and I'm excited and kind of nervous to be doing this because I've got a very loose idea what I'd like to try tonight. But I have no idea how it's going to work out. It could be wonderful, it could be amazing, it could be terrible. I suppose I've got to step up the game from the last episode. Metagator, good evening, hi there. It's always nice when everybody says hi, because when it gets really quiet over there on the left side, I don't know if everybody's left or if they're just intently watching the screen. Oh, my new hairdo, who knows? Okay, so I actually found the visuals from the previous time a nice starter just to get going. I don't think they're anything representative of how cool things can be with Cables GL, with what we can do with visuals, but it was a really nice kind of hello world, right? So today I actually want to really work on an idea that I had in my head. So I'm going to try and outline it in brief. I want to create a kind of like dynamic patch with meshinstancer and just cubes for now. And I want to be able to create a kind of, I don't know, landscape, I suppose, out of mesh instanced cubes, which are going to react in different ways to the music and sound. And the other key component that I want to work on is like when I was working on these visuals, I found the perfection like kind of annoying. Always drives me crazy with a lot of demos and stuff where camera angles are 90 degrees. I don't know. That's just me. I get a nervous tick off that. So I want to come up actually with a kind of, I don't know, semi-random deterministic camera system tonight. So landscape of mesh instance cubes moving around to the beat and other such stuff. Already sounds kind of cool and awesome to me. And then a kind of camera system, which is going to be slightly doing different things all of the time, because I like generative output. I don't want to have things repeat all of the time. Now, I've not looked at this patch, so let's zoom out, right? Let's take a look. Let's go to full screen for now. That's not too bad. It could be worse. It could be worse. So you know what? I'm just going to do cleanup for a minute. Yeah, sorry, didn't do that before. That was the displacement part, post FX. All right, so here's the thing I'm going to do, right? You know, this is all like an idea, I suppose. How should we do this? Yeah, okay. I'm just trying to think. I want to just start from a clean slate, but I want to keep all of this. Yeah, you know, I want to go from scratch, basically. And I know we did this thing where we could change the shape there. Okay, now I remember. So, you know, a good simple way to do this right now is I can just disconnect this. Can I? You know what, let's just do it like this for now, because I want to keep the global trigger stuff that I've got there. I'm going to reuse that. All right, so I'm going to need 5 minutes just to get the ball rolling here. So this was just like the stripe stuff. Yeah, okay. So basically, I just want to kind of like save this, I suppose. So those global triggers there I want to keep. And this stuff I'm just going to move down here. This maybe isn't the best or most efficient way to do it, but I don't want everybody watching me while I make my patch super clean and super tidy. All right. So if I disconnect this now, we shouldn't see anything on the screen. Let's just test. It's going to say cube. Great, okay. So, you know, this stuff down here, this is what I did last week, right? I could put it in a sub-patch. I'm not going to do that unless stuff starts to slow down a little bit. Let's just move it down here. I think the idea that I've got will work pretty quickly. Okay. So would you all like a little bit of the music from Obverse in the background while I talk, or would you just like it nice and quiet? Hey, Faris44, good evening. So do we want music in the background, or do we want it nice and quiet while I talk? I know there's a little bit of delay on Twitch. Prefer quiet, but not that first. All right, not all the votes are in yet. All right, just give it a second or two. Okay, then I'll keep it quiet. So, let's start with this first. So the thing is, I want to just start with something really simple. I want to just have a cube which is like on ground level and it goes up and down. Sounds like a pretty cool idea. So if we plug this in now over there, and let's grab, sorry guys, I need a minute just to get going there. Let's grab a matcap material new for now. That's nice and fast. This is going to get messy for a minute while I'll just try this out. So let me zoom in. Let's grab a mesh instancer. Let's plug this into there, and let's plug that into there. And now the cube, I need to turn off active. So mesh instances just show me one shape. We turn off active so this cube doesn't get rendered over the instanced cubes later. So let's put this here. So I'm just going to grab points cube. It's a good one. I'm going to plug this into positions. Now everything seems massive. Let's go here and we're going to plug in an orbit controls. Okay. But, you know, I am feeling it a bit with the background music. I mean, I've never been too excited with the sound of my own voice. We'll put it on stage 1, okay? There we go. All right, so if I use the mouse wheel now, I can zoom out, and as you can see, we've got this. So basically, I just want to have like a flat plane, right? So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to say Y1, and now we've got this. Okay, great. So the thing is, first of all, I want to make these, I want to change the scale on the Y component, but if I do that, they're going to do this, and I don't want that. I want them to extend from, like, say, the ground. Okay, so how do we do this? We're going to use, I think it's called align geometry. I'm actually not going to use this right now. I'm going to show you it without it, basically. So let's go over here. Sorry guys, and I'm thinking ahead right now, and I want to explain it while I'm doing it. I just need a few minutes to formulate the idea. All right, so we're going to go for total points. We're going to plug that out, plug it into array, and we have to then plug this into array length. So I want these to have a number of 1. So I want the scale just to be 1, then I can change it, and then 1 again, basically. So let's grab an array pack 3. Let's go into full screen. Okay. So let's plug this into scale. So I covered that in the last stream. The amount of points coming out, the length of this array has to kind of be the same as this one. This stuff just doesn't work. So let's plug this in over here. Array length into array length. And let's do one more. And this is just to show you what I'll be setting up here. So I'm going to just plug this into there, this into there, and this then needs a trigger. Okay, so let's just see if we've got this right. Yeah, okay, so you see we can change the height there, right? Okay, so let's say I'd want to change those by a random amount. I can show you the problem I'm going to hit in a minute if I don't use line geometry. I'm just going to make an array of random numbers here. So I'm going to say a random numbers array, because we're working on the XYZ component, right? Let's put this one over here. Now we're going to get array, math array. I'm going to do math with one array with another array. Okay, let's do this. And now let's do multiply. Okay, cool. So if we do this, as you can see, we've now got this. I think that's already looking pretty all right, pretty funky. Okay, so the thing is, let's just change this for a minute. Let's go. I think it's called. My brain's slowly booting up tonight. Random anim. Okay, so let's put it on duration 2, positive 0, and let's put it on min 1, max 3, and we're just going to plug that into the default value of the array. And as you can see, this is now changing. Let's make it a bit crazy. Let's put it on like 8, I suppose. And let's put the scale on 0. I don't know. Let's see how that goes. So as you can see there, they're extending from the middle, right? But I don't want that. Say I want something like this. That's what I've got to use the align geometry for, right? So Cube, like all meshes, mesh ops inside of cables, it outputs the geometry type. A lot of people really don't use this a lot, and that's okay. That's why we're doing these videos, to show this. So I'm going to unplug this, and I'm going to plug this into align geometry, and I'm going to plug this back into him. Let me just check I've got this right. So I'm going to put Y on min. Voila, look at that. So I'll explain what's happening here. The center point, the origin of this cube is normally in the middle, right? And then by going to Y and putting it on min, we're saying give us the lowest point on Y, and now we want that to be the center origin. So now we're scaling it from Y, basically, right? So this is a really cool, simple way to just do this. And I'm just using this right now to kind of simulate me just generating random numbers, which I could later on do with the random stuff. There we go. Okay, so this is just a mock-up. This works. So we can now go to points cube, and I can say, hey man, give me 20 by 20. I could put this on 2, and as you can see, I'm going to end up with something that's going more in the direction of what I want. So right now I'm just going to keep it a bit small so it's manageable on the screen. Okay, so where do we go from here? So I had this idea to have this kind of like playful thing here. All right, so you know what? Let's already start setting it up with the data from live. Now, like I said, I've not looked at this almost at all. Where did I put? Ah, there it is. Sorry, there it is. MIDI all. Okay, I made a sub patch. I press C, and that sent us the patch kind of and gets up from the screen. Wow, did I do that? Yeah, I did. Okay, so I just need a moment to look at this. Okay, 1 1 trigger 1 2. So these ones here are just happening on the count, basically at different subdivisions. Yeah. Okay, yeah, 1/8, 1/4, and if we go down here, this is what I'm interested in. So we've got a kick trigger, and we've got a bool to number. I mean, a lot of the time I can just use the trigger. Okay, let's go back. So what do we do here? Maybe we can start changing this stuff with the kick. So here we go. Kick trigger counter, multiply, smooth. Yeah, okay. Kick gate, bool anim. Yeah, so I'm just thinking like right now, I'm just trying to think like what I'd want to do. Because I've got like the kick and the snare and the hi-hat, and of course I've got to keep in mind that this could all change post effects, and I want to, I don't know, make it kind of work with a system of what I had before. So, let me think. Let's just keep it simple. We're going to just make them all pump up with the kick. Let's just do it like that for now. So I'm going to do trigger receive. I've got to get back into this. It's quite a lot that I did in the last one. So we go down here and we go kick trigger. All right, so just to check here. So press F for flow mode. Okay, so I'm getting that in. All right, so I could trigger a random number, or I could just make it go between 0 and 1. I think I'm just gonna use a bool anim actually. So let's do for get a number, and then do kick gate. Yeah, so there we can see a kick, right? Okay, I'm getting back into it now. The old grey matter is turning on now. So let's grab a Boolean, and I'm just doing this a bit from scratch so I can get back into it again. And let's do a trigger receive. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna plug that in there, and then we're gonna get T1. That was like my just global trigger, which is coming from over here, so I don't just have to pull really long patch chords. So there was a thing that we were doing down here. Yeah, actually, sorry, let's just copy paste. Of course I've got all this stuff made here. No need to rebuild the wheel, my bad. All right, so here we've got the kick gate, tick duration, multiply. Okay, so the whole point of this is by using the tick duration and a multiply, that later on if the BPM of the live set changes, the speed of whatever I'm gonna do now will follow. So if we go to 200 BPM or 120 BPM, the animation will always change its length accordingly. I'm kind of saying that to myself then, so don't worry about it. All right, trigger receive, let's do this. Let's get this started. T1 is my kind of global trigger there. Just check we're getting stuff. Okay, so you know what? Let's plug this into the global number here. Default value. I'm going to put this multiply on 1. Actually lower, 0.5. And then with the Boolean, it's outputting a value between 0 and 1 right now. I don't need this random anim. I want it all to be beat synced. So we're going to put the Boolean, and the value of true is 1. That's not a lot, so let's put it on 8. Okay, Boolean, animate both, only true. A minute or two. You know what? I might actually use the smooth for this. So I can say only true, value smooth. Let's just take a look. So I'm going to go ahead to smooth this. So this smooths out jumps in value, right? Yeah, okay, so the reason I'm using this is it's kind of like controlling the attack decay transients of something like a snare. So if you go like bats, you know, with a snare drum, the very beginning is very loud, very quickly. It's almost vertical with the line, how long it takes the sound to go up, and then it decays off like bats. So we're using smooth right now to simulate that. But to do that, I've got to put on separate increment and decrement. So let's take a look. Other way around. And actually, I'm going to put Boolean into output between 0 and 1. I'm going to get the smoothed output, and then I'm just going to use a good old multiply. I think that's going to give me a bit more what I'm going for. It's still not responding the way that I want. Animate both. Okay. And how long? Multiply. Okay. And you know, I'm just really wondering right now if I just don't use the Boolean and I just use kick gate. The thing is, the reason I'm using Boolean is because I want it to kind of follow the BPM. Like I said, it's not something you're going to see right now. All right, this is okay. I shouldn't focus on this too much right now. It's a little detail. And the thing is, maybe I don't want it to go all the way down, but I'll work on that in a little bit. So okay, this is one thing. All right, sorry. Let me just check the feed here. Hi Rictic 909. Hey Ronnie. Unfortunately, this is also smoothing the attack. Well, yeah, and that's okay. If you would analyze a guitar or a snare drum, nothing goes to peak volume in 0 milliseconds. It's impossible because sound also needs a certain amount of time to build up its amplitude. You play an electric guitar, it can take up to 3 to 5 milliseconds before the main snare oscillates enough to reach its peak volume to then decay to the next note. And the thing is, we're just kind of like, we're just trying to make things feel right, I suppose. That's the best way to say it. I'm not trying to follow like scientific convention here. You know, we could put the smoothing number down even more, but you know, this is something I'd probably do with plugging into a MIDI controller later. And as you can see, the main problem I've got right now is this, which is, you know, when there's no kick, there's nothing, so I can't do anything with this. So we have to figure out a way to kind of change this. So let's say 0.1 on the Boolean. So now we've always got something on the screen. Yeah, okay, that's a good way to go. Yeah, okay, this looks better now. All right, so what's something else that we could do? So the whole point here is to try and come up with some really simple rules from a kick, snare, hat, and I don't know, a bass line to start off with, which will make this later on way cooler. So this is a nice start. So, and if you look at it, because it's mesh instancing, you get a lot for a little. We're not using very many ops, but we've already got something there that we can do a lot of stuff with, right? So, yeah, we can change the width there, but we're not going to do it on the geometry because the geometry gets rebuilt then, which is slow. The whole idea is to use the scale input. So if we go here, we can change this. We've also got the rotation array. Okay. Yeah, so Ronnie, just to make that clear, so the smooth up here, we've got an option here called the separate increment and decrement, and basically the smoothing value is applied with if the value is higher than the previous value or lower, like if it increments or decrements. So basically you see this now as 8 and 1, and if I put this on 1 and 8, we get it in reverse basically. So you know, I could put this in 16 and 1. You got to kind of tweak this, that just kind of feels right. I mean this now matches the length of the kick, kind of. There we go. I can live with that now. Okay, this is kind of cool. So let's go with that. So what I want to do is later on is I want to have like, I don't know, every 4 or 8 kicks, this random seed there, I want to have it change, right? So let's just build that in right now. Let's go here and let's say trigger receive, because this part I'm going to build now. I think I'm going to be able to use it for a lot of things later on. So I'm going to go to kick, trigger, okay. And now we're going to go to trigger count. I'm going to just redo some of the stuff that I did in the last stream because I've also got to get into it. I don't want to just copy paste everything. So this is counting how many triggers that we've got, right? Nice and easy. We're going to use modulo. Modulo, for the people who don't know it, it's a good way to loop a number by outputting the remainder. So if I'm now going to put this on, say, 4, this is going to loop between 0, 1, 2, and 3 every time there's a kick. So there we go, 0, 1, 2, 3. As you can see, we've just now got this nice loop, right? So now let's say equals. Result is true if numbers 1 and 2 are the same. So if I put it on 0, it's going to reset. Okay, and I think we had a reset here. Let me just check this. This is really important for state, so I'm going to go to trigger receive. This was in the last video, if I'm correct. MIDI reset all. So that means if I press stop with live and I start it again, that the state of this trigger count will be put back to 0, like you could see there, right? So I'm going to put this in. This is why I like to use trigger counter, basically. Okay, so modulo equals. So 1 out of every 4 counts, we're going to get an equal. So now we've got a really cool op. I'm just going to type in trigger true. Trigger changed to true. Triggers next only after the value is changed to true. Okay, so this will only output a trigger when this evaluates to true. And I'm just going to show you here. There we go, nice and easy. And now I'm going to get trigger random number. Generate a random number between min and max. Okay, cool. So this is like a little framework here that I can use later on with snare or whatever. I can just change the trigger that's coming in. So this is nice and reusable. So I'm going to just put this on a certain magic number, 5711. And this I'm going to use as a seed for the random numbers array. Okay, so I'm going to plug that into random numbers array. I'm going to plug it into random seed. And now every time this triggers, this here is going to change. Let's just check. Should do. Give me a minute. Bit hard to see. Am I not seeing a difference here? This is looking exactly the same, or am I just not seeing a difference? I feel like my eyes are playing tricks with me right now. 1 minute. Okay, it has changed. Let me just check these three. Yeah, okay, sorry. So the difference isn't that big, but that's okay. That's just to try it out. I'm just gonna save my patch. All right, so we can do a lot more with this. I could say like the minimum height of this. I also want to have different, so this is a reusable system. So I can go to Boolean and its value of false is 0.25. So I can go here and say, oh, you know what, give me between 0.25 and 0.6. And now let's plug that into the Boolean value of false. So these are going to get a different height every 4 counts. There we go. Okay. All right. So the thing is, I don't want everything to be too super obvious right now, because otherwise it's going to get like really busy and hectic. So I'm just building it up layer for layer. Okay. Yeah, the light is changing the room, so the green screen's acting differently now. That's something we'll fix later. All work in progress. So I want something else to happen now. What can I do with the snare? Anybody got a cool idea what could happen with the snare over here? It's got to be simple though to start with. Thinking right now. I mean, I want this to drive more with the music, so we've got like this subdivision count, right? Yeah, okay. It's too static for me right now. So here we've got this quarter trigger, this eighth trigger. Yeah, Undefined Country Boy, I'm not going to start with color right now. Because that's just a different beast. I want to just get motion down, but please come back on that later on. Yeah, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to try and get every quarter or every eighth to make something happen. Yeah, okay, let's try that. So I'm going to type in trigger, receive. I'm just going to turn the light on, everyone. This doesn't mess with the green screen too bad. It's getting a little bit dark in here. Oh, did that make a piece of my head disappear? Looks like it. Let's angle that over there, see if that helps. Okay, I think I'm more visible again. All right, so we go to trigger receive, and I'm going to say every quarter, and then I'm going to say trigger counter, and then we're going to do a modulo, As you can see, we're going to be using a lot of the same trick here. And I only want 0 or 1. And I'm just curious if I'm gonna add that before the smooth to catch the jump. So I'm gonna put in some. This might not work, right? Tonight is the ambitious night. And that's too much. So let's grab this multiply. This is pulsing more now. So now I could go here and I could put it on every 8th, so it'd be a lot faster. This is horrible, but it's just to show you what I mean here. If I'm gonna put it on every 16th. You know, this is just pulsing every 16th right now. I'm just trying stuff out. So the reason this is kind of working is because the smooth is catching the differences here. If I put this on 8. This just feels a little bit better right now. Okay. So let me just put this up here. This up here. Team straight lines for the win. Just throwing that one up there. Okay. So now I want to do something with the snare. I am thinking with the snare, I could do something with the scale or with the rotation. Rotation could actually be really cool. Let's try something with that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to grab. Whoa! I'm going to grab these 3. I'm going to press Control C, Control V. I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to just pull this over here into array length. And you know, I could actually just grab this from here. Same kind of thing. All right, so let's throw a little comment in here so I can also keep track of this. So we're gonna put in here scale. And here we're gonna put rotation. All right, let's put that there, this round here. Okay, cool, I'm gonna save. So, you know, I always just try stuff out in a simple way first. So I'm gonna plug this into rotations. So as you can see, this is already really interesting because we can, we're using the align geometry to do it from the bottom, right? Which is like all kinds of awesome. You know, we can just do some really cool, crazy stuff with this, I think. And this is also a really nice one. And this should also go onto 0. All right. So you know what? Just to keep this simple, I'm going to do it with this. Okay. Cool. So now we're going to kind of do what we did up here, but then with the snare. And because we've built all this now, let me just get rid of this displaced texture section. It should go down here. That's with my old patch. And yeah, I mean, I don't even know if I'm going to keep what I did from last week, just to put that out there. We'll just see. I mean, just go in the direction that feels right. So we go over here, and now I want to have the snare trigger, right? So I go here, snare trigger, so it's only triggered now with the snare. Cool. Okay. It's also happening on the downbeat. All right. But no, I want this to happen. Sorry guys, my bad. I mean, this part here. Okay, so let's hold in shift and move all this over here. So this is the one. So this needs to become snare gate. So just so you know, it's outputting a 1 when there's a snare and a 0 when it's not there. And this is tied into the note on, node off. Okay, let's go from there. So smooth 8 to 1. Let's just keep all the stuff the same. And let's put this on, I don't know, 180. So we're going to plug that into and see what happens. Okay, way too much. Let's put it on 90. So as you can see, it feels very different with the snare compared to the kick. All right, what's going on here? Let's get rid of this sum. And wait, both only true. There we go. Yeah, that feels better. Only true. Let's make it a bit longer. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I like that. That feels a bit better. But I don't want them all rotating, right? So what can we do about that? Well, there's a couple of tricks we can use. So let's look at it this way. I'm just going to keep this all nice and spaced out so it's nice and clear where everything is. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to get a random numbers array. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to output a number between 0 and 1. Actually, no, not integer. Let's just check that out. Right, cool. Just between 0 and 1. Float. It's got the same length as these here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get array logic. I think I did a little bit with this in the last stream. Don't really remember. Basically, I'm going to use a comparison mode, and I'm going to say if it's greater than this number for comparison, which is 0.5, output a true, else output a 0, because I just don't want everything rotating, right? So how do I decide which ones do and don't rotate? Well, I'm using array logic for this. So I'm going to plug this in here, and let me just zoom in a bit so you can see it on the stream. And if I zoom in now, we just get zeros and ones, basically. Okay. Right. Okay, sorry, just a little thing there on Discord with my homies from Undev. Okay, so what I've got now is this between 0 and 1, and this is just basic multiplication. Is actually just basic logic, right? It's a 1 or a 0. So like what we did over here, we're going to get array math array. I'm going to copy and paste it. It's just multiplication, right? And we're going to plug that in here. And then we're going to get this, and we're going to plug it in there. And if I'm correct, that shouldn't let them all rotate. Okay. Now, I'm looking at boolean 0 to 1. What happens if I do -1 to 1? We'll increase the... Yeah, let's just keep it on 0 for now. Wild idea. All right, so that thing I did before with a certain amount of triggers creates a kind of state-based behavior. So here we go to snare trigger. That's the one we're interested in. And we trigger a random number, and we're now going to plug this into the random numbers array to its seed. Yeah, okay, so that's kind of changing that now. If I want less shapes to move, I just increase the number for comparison. So if I put it like 0.9 now, barely any of them are going to turn. And you know what? I want this to happen more often. So equals 0. Let's just put this on 2. So it's going to go between 0 and 1. So it's going to change every cycle. Whoops, that was too high. Let's put this on 0.2. So I'm not going to do that on this stream. So there's obviously our MIDI controllers like the Launchpad, stuff with knobs like the MIDI fader and things like that. To me, they're the things I want to plug in later, because you want to come up with kind of like unified control system inside the cables before you start patching this stuff in. It's going to become really horrible. And that's also going to be another cool part of the stream, to show how I can very quickly and easily build like a custom MIDI controller setup that's like reusable and easy to root and configure, and that's actually going to control stuff in live probably and inside the cables. Okay, so these are some building blocks. All right, so I'm just trying to think right here of some funky trick that I could do. I mean, in theory, if we put this on, yeah, -1, then all of them will rotate, but some of them will rotate one way and some of them will rotate the other, right? Okay, that's also kind of cool. So we could do another thing here where we do this, where we repeat the array logic, right? We're going to get a different seed right there, and it only needs one trigger, right, to create a random number. So this I'm also going to plug into here, into the seed. The length of it needs to be the same as the rest, number of values. And then basically what we can do with this is we can say 0 and 1. Let's put this on 0.5. Let's put this on 0.5, let's just see. So they're always going to rotate, but now it's like half of them turn one way, half of them turn the other way. Okay, that makes sense. And we're just going to do another logic operation, which is just basically another array math array. So I'm going to copy this, I'm going to plug that in. And now we're going to get this and plug it in here. And if I'm correct, now they shouldn't all rotate. Cool. So the thing is, later on I could have a MIDI controller and I can like use this for the sensitivity. So if I put it on 0, they're all going to rotate now. Let me just check. Sorry, 1. Yeah, so now they're all going to rotate. If I put it on like 0.5, then only half of them are going to rotate. I'm just trying to think ahead now of like using a MIDI controller, like, you know, that could have some knobs to just tweak stuff and make that work pretty good. So let's go to level 2 for a minute, shall we? Just see how it responds then. Now, don't forget, this is all really super dynamic now because we're getting the total point number out from points cube. And we can just increase this, right? We can just go, and we're going to get a very different vibe. Okay, so I'm just keeping that in mind for later. All right. So, what if I also just want these things to disappear? Let's say I wouldn't want them all there. Then if we do this, this is scale array. Okay. Array math array. And really, please don't let yourself get intimidated by arrays. Everybody just needs a little while to wrap their head around it, and then you are just good to go. Okay, so this isn't calculating correctly because it needs 2 arrays to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to reuse a piece of something here. And for this I'm going to have to use smooth array. Yeah, so I'm going to do this. So we're going to get that random number to trigger. And, I don't know, I'm just going to use this for... I'm just trying to think what I can use here. Let's just copy this part actually. Paste it in. I just want this to happen on like say every half. I don't know. Let's put it on a quarter for now. So this is like a timed interval, okay? So I'm getting a random number and I want that to go to the seed here. Okay, now what I'm going to use is, if I'm correct, I'm getting a bit nervous now because every time I say one of these things and I'm plugging it in and maybe it won't work. Okay, so let's get this. Once again, we're just doing like a number for comparison, 0.5. Let's put it on 0.25. Array math array. Now, what I'm going to do is array smooth. Actually, smooth array. So this is like the smooth up, right? Just in case Ronnie's still listening. It smooths out the change in value with the increment and with the incrementing number and the decrementing number. So the thing is, this is array math array with the x, y, z component. So look, this has an output with a length of 300, and this has it with 100. So you know, this one here right now. Sorry, I just need to trigger. Let's make it nice and tidy and patch it through like this. Okay, so this has. There we go. Got to get that array length. And we say number of values. So right now this has a length of 100 and this has a length of 300. So these two need to match with their length. In this case, it's really nice and simple. We just go here and we just say multiply by 3, because that's like the length of the array. So multiply by 3, we get 300, and this is now 300 long, 300. I could have gotten it with, no, sorry, this is not going to work. Okay, I need to do it like this. Because I want this to work on the scale of everything. So we do array pack 3, get this. And if we want to make this cheaper, okay, I'm just thinking quicker here. So smooth array is a little bit expensive. It's not too bad. This makes sense in a minute. I don't want to do smooth array on 300 points if I can do it on 100. So here I've got an array logic of 100 points. Put it into smooth array, and that I now plug 3 times into array pack. There we go. Okay, cool. So now that's a lot cheaper. So let me just check this is working. Okay, we're going to plug this into here. And we're going to say multiply. Boom. It worked. So as you can see, like I said, I'm thinking about this with like a MIDI controller right now, right? That this could be controlled, you know. So I could go here to this, and I could make. Could I turn up the mic a little? Yeah, a little bit. I can also look like I'm going to eat it during the stream. It's not going to get much louder than this because I'm pretty much almost in the red. I've just turned it up like 5 dB. I hope that's okay. Is your desktop audio up enough? Bartholomew Music? Okay. So yeah, let's just imagine I've got my awesome MIDI controller just plugged in here. You know, I can do something like this. Yeah. I'm enjoying the way this is going. So, you know, we can also put this on like 8 and 1. Not sure how this will work. And if I put this on some like really crazy number, like really ridiculous. This is going to be awesome if I plug this into a MIDI controller later. Psyched! Alright, let's put it on 12 for now. So, you know, this is now changing every quarter, right? But we could put it on like every 8th later. But that's too much. Every 16th. Just for the crazy. Just to show you, like, we've got a lot of different outputs here. Alright. So 12 is a bit too much. Let's put it on just 6. Okay, I like the way this is going. Let's save it. It's the acidy midline, which is a bit busy. Alright, I hear you, man. I think I know which one you're talking about here. I think you mean this one. Yeah, it's just kind of non-stop, right? Let's just put that on stop for now then. Okay, we've got this trick going on there, so we need to stop it here. Let's just stop. We reset everything with the trigger. Go here, go there. This should kill it now. Okay, let's go down here. I'm just going to turn that down a touch. All right. Hopefully that's a little bit better. Okay. Is the music a bit too loud for anybody on the stream? We'd just like to get a bit of general feedback on that. Much better. All right, great. Thanks for the feedback, guys. Like I said, I don't hear how it is for you over there. Okay, so I'm already really happy with the way that this is going, because it might not look so amazing right now, but we can do so much with this later on. You know, it's gonna be really cool to control with a MIDI controller. So, how do we go further with this? Well, we've got color, which can change. I'm not going to work on that right now, though. So later I'm thinking this could be plugged into a post-processing setup. Yeah, okay. So I'm not gonna go too crazy with this right now. Just want to check. Yeah, okay. This feels good. I'm happy with this. All right. So let's just pull this down. Pull this down. This actually, you know, it might look really, really crazy busy, but it's actually really not that bad. Okay. So that section's there. So far, so good. Okay. I want to make this camera system right now. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay, so I want to do this camera thing. Let's get rid of orbit controls. Alright, this might take a minute to set up. Oof. So I've got the camera up here, and please, you got any questions, just throw them in. I might need a minute or two to respond sometimes, because I'm really just focused and trying to get in the zone. I've got like 2 monitors here, so you know I'm looking over there, but I try to remember to look every once in a while. So if you've got any questions of what I'm doing, please just say so. Okay. Yeah, great. No, I've got a good feeling about this. All right, let's do this. Okay, so I want to have this camera, right? And I want it to like look at different points in the field, because like I said, I'm not a big fan of like right now these cubes are perfect, right? I want it a little bit offset to the sides. I want it to like look in. I want it to come back. I want to have this feeling of like a cameraman, like just like maybe being a bit drunk, looking into a scene, right? So you know, let's put frustum on 1. Everything disappears, and let's crank it up. There we go. There's the frustum far. It doesn't need to be on 5,000. Let's just put it on 100 for now. Whatever I'm going to do later. So we've got FOV. Really cool way to get a different look. You know, we could have this on a kick. Okay. IX. As you can see, we can move around like this. Right. Okay. And then we've got center. That's where we're looking. Right. So let's do this. All right, let's go over. It's really nice to have this cool music to listen to as well while I'm working. Big shout out to Obverse for supplying this. It's really great. He managed to get all this together for us using the stream. You should definitely check his SoundCloud page. He's done an actual mix of this track, and he's got like a teaser for his EP. So hit him up. It's definitely worth it. I've been listening to his sneak previews of his music. He's got some really good stuff coming. All right, so let's try and focus on this. So we've got the truck, move like this, yeah. Got the boom, move up and down, right. Got the dolly, okay. Tilt, and I'm interested in roll, if I'm correct, yeah. Okay, so sometimes when I don't remember the 9 million options that I want to work on, I just like kind of type them into the comment section of the op. I really like that. It's a nice way to make notes for yourself for later. So center, that's what I'm interested in right now. So let's do this. I want to make a little random sphere fly around. Right? So I want it all to not be pulled apart later. Sorry, just speaking out loud to myself. Okay. Let's add a sequence here. Just plug that there. Alright, let's grab a transform. I'm just going to do basic material for now. You know, when you want to make something that's seemingly a bit complicated in your head, don't try and make it look good. Just make the thing work, basically. Alright, there we go. Okay, so I've got this sphere. Yeah, of course, it doesn't matter with the depth stuff. It doesn't matter, this is just a placeholder. Just going to put the radius on 0.5. It's a bit smaller. He's in there somewhere. There we go. Okay, so I want to make this guy move around. And I want it to happen in time with the music. So I'm actually going to say, well, let's grab this part. So the whole idea now, we can just keep reusing these chains. So this is going to be like my thing, my camera focus point. So I'm going to say here every quarter for now. Yeah, okay, every quarter. Cool. I'm going to put the modulo on 4, trigger change true, trigger random number, max 5711. No. So here's what I'm going to do now. Watch. I'm going to move this there. So we're going to say -5 to 5. Okay. Cool. Min -5, max 5. Thanks for sharing the link, Panda. There's the link right now on Twitch and to Obverse audio. Forgot to get it in my stuff for tonight. Thanks for catching that one. All right. So we get a random number now between -5 and 5. Awesome. And now I'm going to turn on smooth. I'm going to use the smooth up. And I'm going to do trigger, receive. Okay. And it just needs a global trigger. It's connected to main loop, so we'll get T1. Awesome. Let's put this on, I don't know, 10. And let's just plug this into position X. There we go, sphere just moved. And just to be sure, we're going to disconnect this. So in every quarter count, it moves. All right, awesome. Feeling it. So now I want to do this as well. Just going to copy. I'm just going to paste. Because I might want this later on to happen with the snare, right? Well, I could just go here now and I could grab the snare trigger. So it happens in all the snares. All right, so now I grab, let's grab the Z component. So let's just do -5 and 5 again. Let's not make it too complicated to start with. So it's all already good. So I'm now going to plug this into position Z. Okay, this is happening. Let's just put it on 1. Sorry, 2. Let's alternate between 1 and 0. And I want this kind of like the snare, right? So I'm going to put this on, say, 8 and 1. Actually, they just need to be the same, 8. Maybe this is it. Maybe I'm finished now with the VJ software. Maybe this is the best sphere ever made. Who knows? All right. No, we're not done yet. Okay, so this is the Z component, right? So I should actually put it here. So I'm gonna use this and and we paste it in between. Thank you, cables. You're so good to me. All right. This one we don't want on -5 to 5, I think. So we want it on, say, 5 to 0. Okay. Minimum 0, max 5. We're gonna have to tweak all this later, right? So we'll plug this into position Y. All right, so you might be thinking, all right, Andro, you're doing all this stuff. You've got a really cool sphere there. What are you doing? Well, there's this amazing art. We've got a tutorial about this coordinates. When I discovered this art when Panda introduced me to it, it just blew my mind because it's such a simple thing that I always wanted to do a lot in other environments, and it was always a real struggle to just make it work. So bam, I'm going to connect that, and now you see that we get the coordinates of that sphere. That's absolutely awesome, right? So just to test that this is going to work the way that we want, let's plug this in here. Right, and now we know that sphere's moving, and we're going to get X, and we're going to plug it into center X. Oh yeah, there we go. Let's plug that into center Y. So that's now moving around like this. But as you can see, it's very exact. That's not what we want. So this is where we just use that is strange. Oh man, why is this jittery? I've got maybe I shouldn't be using smooth here. Maybe I should be using it down here. Alright, let's just see if I'm right with that. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, I completely failed of not touching my face, right? With the whole thing going on right now. So that's going to jump around, and let's see. Let's just disconnect these from now. Whoops. Okay, so I'm putting the smooth one down here. I don't know why I've got a feeling this is gonna smooth stuff out. If it doesn't, I'll call on the big guns with Pando. Hopefully he'll know what it is if there's a problem. So we're gonna go to center X. Cool. So let's put this on a really long number, like 16, 16. Okay. It's going a little bit more the way that I want. Alright, so these guys here can go. That just had to do with order of execution, I suppose. So let's just tidy this up for a little minute. So later on we don't need to see that sphere. And I could just make a way that this can be enabled and disabled, basically. So the camera, I've got the feeling we're a bit too much inside of it. There we go, yeah. So as you can see, we're also going to just do some stuff later on with the actual eye point. And we can go all over the place and get a lot of really cool funky effects. These smooths, yeah. They just need to be high. It's a bit too, but we could put like the Y on a really low number. So we can put X and Z on a higher number. Let's put it on 8, actually. Just looking to just get a general feel for it now. Yeah, you know, later on we can just do this kind of thing, right? And then we get this kind of like sea of cubes that we can be moving around between. Okay. Okay, I don't want to spend too long on it. Let's just do it like this. Let's just put them all on 16 for now. That just felt better. Yeah, okay. So we can use this exact same system now to move the eye point of the camera, right? And you know, we could just do that based upon the same information, right? Let's just try it. It might be hacky. It might not look very pretty, but I'm just brainstorming and I'm just trying to get some cool pieces together that I can use. So this is a single trigger from trigger random number. Just going to connect that like this. A little cool thing in cables that I do sometimes is I color code things, so I just know visually that they're kind of like related to each other. So to move the camera now, I'm just going to take a look at the numbers manually. So I'm going to say IX could be, let's say, 20 to minus 20. I don't know. That's a start. So X, we're going to say minus 20 to 20. And then we're going to go here to camera again. And I'm going to look at IY, and I'm going to go like, okay, you know, so we could have it on. I don't want us to go too much into the shapes, right? So let's say 8 to 20. Let's say 8 to 20. So that's on the Y component. 8 to 20. And this one we're going to do the same as X, which is minus 20 to 20. Oh. Okay. Okay, so I also need these smooths, like here. So I'm just going to paste them. I could do all this with variables, but that's just going to take a bit too long for me right now. I don't want you guys to see me just doing a load of that, basically. So this is going to get put into smooth. get put in smooth. As you can see, a lot of what I'm doing is just for XYZ, right? So I'm gonna click, drag, let go in the middle of the op, plug it into IX, and this one I'm gonna plug into IY, and this one I'm gonna plug into IZ. And now that I'm thinking about it, the random numbers here can also match what we're doing with our camera. Actually, let's just like do -15 and 15, so it's more within the bounds of what we've got. I could make this dynamic later on. Yeah, I'd rather make it like a little bit too wild and crazy right now. Than have it too simple. So of course we're getting this kind of like, I don't know, flip. I think it's a gimbal flip, basically. I'll solve that later. I'm not too worried about that right now. Okay. So I'm already kind of happy with where this is going. You know, I wanted to make something which was a little bit modular, basically. Okay, so it looks pretty big, but it's actually not that bad. I'm designing this now with the idea that I can have a MIDI controller and later on change these things. So I can make it all full, or I can make it less, so it's kind of like I can control how much is on the screen, right? Which I think is pretty awesome. Okay. All right. So where do we go from here? We can change the colors. So right now we're doing all of this with only the kick and the snare and the basic subdivision triggers. All right. Now I'm just curious. So, yeah. I need to repatch this post effects. Yeah, okay. So, first things first. This part here with the sphere and everything, you know, that's not being rendered actually into a scene. That sphere is just there to help me visualize what's going on. Later on I do this and it's not there. One thing I forgot about. That's a really important one. I wanted to change the roll. Just a touch. Yeah, okay. That's one last thing we gotta do right there. So I'm also going to trigger a random number, and I'm going to do this also actually on a quarter. I'll tidy all this up later. Let's do this. Okay, we can do this. Totally. Trigger random number again. And the reason we're doing this in the quarter is just so that it's continuous. Who knows, maybe the snare stopped for 10 seconds, but we want this just to keep on happening. So we get this little combo here with the smooth and the T1. We don't need that T1. We can link that trigger through from here. Press F for flow mode, you can see that. All right, so I want this to go from, I don't know, -40 to 40. This is gonna be for camera roll. I'm gonna put this into smooth. And I'm gonna put this on a pretty high value, actually. I want it to happen pretty slow. So I'm gonna put this smooth. Now I'm going to put this on roll. Now I don't like the gimbal flip, but like I said, I'm not going to worry about that now. Basically I can just make sure that the sphere is only moving kind of in the back part and the camera's here, so they're like this and that they don't go past each other, basically. That's an easy way to do it. And of course we've got a lot of little tricks that we can do here, like we could add a transform. You know, we can make this like spin in time with the music as well, that you can see there. That's another cool thing that we could do later. Alright, now I'm pretty sure this would already look like kind of cool with a lot of the basic post-processing. You could put like a depth of field on it. Mirror effects alone would already make this look all kinds of awesome. basically. And I'm gonna just move this over. I don't want to delete that guy. I'd have a big problem if I did that right now. All right, so this is a cool thing to do right now. I should make a backup of this. VJ software, Twitch, part 2. Save as. Yeah, you should, like with all software, save once in a while. So I'm gonna click OK. Okay, this is gonna save. It's gonna reload. Okay, cool. So I'm kind of happy with this. I think it like worked pretty cool so far. And just my brain's just telling me something here. That's max. We can do min, and we can do the center again. Now, so there's a few different looks that we can get out of this later. We're going to put that on min. All right. I have all these crazy ideas, like a kick going off, like a smooth step, and with like them all going like a wave and things like that. But that's going to be kind of tricky to do right now, I suppose. Okay. Okay, you know what, everybody? I'm just going to take a 2-minute break. I'm pretty much out of fluids. Just going to give my brain a 2-minute break just to reset. So let me just grab this and put it there for anybody else coming in a minute, basically. Why am I not seeing this? Ah, there we go. All right, so I'm going to be back in 2 minutes. Like I said, I just need to get a drink and just reset my brain. Actually, let's make it 3 minutes. Quick break, that'll do me good. All right, cool. I'll be back in 3 minutes, all right? Hey everybody, I'm back. Okay, let's turn that off. All right, well, we've been on level 3 for quite a while now. Let's go back to level 1. Okay, let's disable that sphere for now. Don't want to see that. I'm just thinking about one last thing that I could do. Yeah, I could change the FOV with a MIDI controller later. I don't need to do that right now. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff we could do. This is just to get it started. Roll is a bit too much for me. So let's just put it on -20 to 20. So the thing is, you know, if I want this to look good with post-processing, then basically, you know, you don't want to make your input too complicated, I suppose, right? So I think just before the break, for a brain fuse popped, I said, okay, I've got to get the rendering part here. So, you know, it'd be really smart of me now to start building this system in place, right? So let's see if I can do this right now, live on the stream. So we're here. This entire scene, all right, I don't need to rebuild all this from scratch. Here was the basic post effects thing I did last time. I wasn't a big fan of the displacement stuff when push came to shove. I think it didn't feel as cool as it could. Am I just gonna do, you know, I'm just gonna build some of this from scratch and then just post it. It's just gonna be easier for me to keep track of. Yeah, okay. So let's just say all these different scenes now that I do, like I had the one from 2 weeks ago from the last stream and this one. Let's just say I just do them as render to textures for now, just to keep my sanity. So I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna say render to texture. Everything goes. Okay, cool. Let's put on MSA4. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is now I'm gonna make a kind of like I'm gonna use the new var set texture and the var get texture. By the way, Bartholomew Music. While Andro's taking a break, anyone want to share anything they've been up to? This is a patch I made after watching the last copycat tutorials and went off the rails. Hey, you know what? This is a live stream. Let's do this. So, copy link address. Let's paste it. Let's just take a quick look now. Nice. I like it. Oh, this is really cool, man. I really like it. That's really, really cool. I really like what you did there. I'm curious how you did it. I'm not going to look into that right now. I'll do it later on when I'm finished with the stream. But that's really cool. Nice work, man. Okay, back to the stream. Okay, so let's go over here. This might not be the best way to do it. So I'm gonna do trigger, so sorry, forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Okay, all right. So I want to have these different render to textures of all these different scenes, and later on in subpatches, and I can choose a MIDI control to swap between them. I could also do it with trigger. I don't know. I've not figured that out right now. Var set texture. So here I'm going to create a new variable, and I don't know. I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it more cubes. There we go. Yeah, that makes sense. So now that's a texture going in there. And then I'm going to get another one here, var set texture. I'm going to call it more cubes depth. Okay. Because I'm also going to be using that depth texture later to do some stuff. Gonna make a new trigger. Final render. This might not work. I've never done it before. We'll see. 1 minute. Hopefully not too much of my head's disappearing from the green screen. I think it's been working out pretty well so far. All right, so let's go down here, because I don't need to reinvent the wheel. Yeah, I just wasn't happy with most of this, actually. I mean, the mirror stuff, I don't know. Yeah, I just want to do this from scratch. Boom. Sequence, okay. Full screen rectangle. Let's go here. Make an image compose. Zoom in a touch, so it's easier for everybody to see. I'm just trying something out here, so like I said, might not work. Who knows? Let's do draw image, because I want to draw an image into the current composition. Now I'm going to go here. I'm going to say var get texture, and then I'm going to say more cubes. Okay, cool. So I'm going to make this my mental note for later. So just so you know what's going on, we've got a render to texture, transforms the entire thing, the entire 3D scene into a 2D texture. I'm using a new op here, var set texture. It allows me to make a texture available anywhere with a named, to make a texture available anywhere by assigning it to a variable, which in this case is more cubes depth, which I'm going to be using in a minute. So that's this part I've got down here that I don't need to rebuild that texture. Wow, what did I even do? Sometimes it's just easier to do this stuff from scratch, I suppose. I'll just copy paste some of those effects. So let me move this over here. So the thing is, later on, I'm a little bit off track there. I can do switch textures, and this would allow me to swap between different scenes or textures or whatever I want to do for later. Just putting a framework in place. So okay, and I'm gonna make kind of like, yeah, okay, let's just grab that from here. This was okay. Let's grab the mirror stuff, because that I know is gonna work with this. All right. Come on, Betty. Now, the reason I'm doing this with fast set texture and get texture is because later on I'm going to have this scene in a sub patch, I'm going to have this scene in a sub patch, and I don't want to have like 42 massive long cables going in one patch and out of the other. I don't want to think about that later. I want to make a patch, make it into a little enclosed ecosystem, make it a sub patch, send the texture data out, send the depth texture out in case that's what I need to use, whatever. And I don't want to look back. I don't want to think about that anymore. And I can just jump into each patch and tweak it so they're all independent of each other, but they're all being controlled by this MIDI data, right? Okay. Where were we? All right, this was, let's do that to pass through. Okay. So I want to do this mirror effect on it, right? So I'm going to grab this. I'm going to plug that in here. And now I'm going to plug this in here. And now I'm going to ask myself what's going on. That is confusing. What is going on? I don't need this guy. Ah, there we go. Ah, sun is it's only going to turn on once in a while. Okay, that works. That works with the mesh instancer. All right. That's some randomization rules to make this do different stuff. I'm not going to do that right now. That's kind of her, but that was from the previous stream, so let's just leave that for now. This is already really interesting. I like this. This is like the whole idea of generative visuals, getting a lot of different looks out of it. Oof. Faris 44 is oof a good thing? I hope so. Normally I would say oosh, but that's just me. Okay, so this is good. I'm enjoying this so far. So let's take a look down here. Cool, it's a good one. Oof is good. Okay. I'm just gonna try grabbing a few pieces here, right, just to see how this works out. I'm just slowly getting back into it, everybody. It's been a while. Edge detection. Okay, so this is that. So if it's 116, it's gonna happen. So as you can see, it's adding this edge detection on every 1/16th of the bool anim. Okay, just a really simple thing. Cool. Now let's get one thing straight. What I'm going to do in a moment is not at all the most efficient way to do stuff. Full screen blurs are expensive. Okay, let's just get that straight. In any environment, any programming environment, full screen blurs are expensive. Like bad blurs are cheap, good blurs are expensive. It's just the way it is. So I'm going to use a full screen blur because I just want to try something out, and I'll worry about optimizing it later. Okay, so yeah, I'm just thinking. Might look terrible. Who knows? Who cares? We'll find out. All right. Image compose. I'm going to do a depth texture focus. Now, a little cool part about cables here. Got an up, and you think, yeah, you know what to do. Just click that view example. Pop on over. This is why we make this stuff, so you lovely people can just know how this all works. So let's take a look here. Depth texture focus. We're blurring that basic material. Okay. How was this done again? And that's the mask for the blur. All right. even I get a little bit tired once in a while and go, how did this work again? So depth texture focus needs a depth map. So I'll worry about doing this all later on with a switch texture. I mean, it's way better actually to do with triggers, because when you don't trigger something, it's more efficient. But I'm not worrying too much about efficiency now. I just want to patch. I just want to be creative. If I'm going to think too much about making things amazingly technically optimized, I'm not going to be creative right now. So I'm not going to worry about that. So I'm going to plug that in here. Yeah, depth texture focus, I'm thinking about this right now. It always has this really crazy number on the file plane, like 100. It's almost never used. It should always be something a little bit lower, I think. I don't know. There we go. Look at this. Ah, juicy. Okay, actually, it's a pretty big scene. So 100 actually normally never works for me because I'm working on smaller scenes, but here it kind of works. All right. Let's put the width really low. So actually, let's put it on, I don't know, 150? Let's find out. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? All right, so let's take a look at it. Say 0 point. If I don't even touch this now, what's happening? So just really interesting trick here. So, save. So I'm just going to put this on 512 by 512. Okay, and I just want to add this right now into what I'm looking at here. I'm going to do draw image. I don't know, maybe this will work, maybe it won't. Let's get that output from image compose that we see here. Because I'm not actually doing a full screen, but I'm going in a different direction than I was planning. Image, and let's say blend mode, add. That's looking pretty cool. I'm enjoying it so far. And we can make the width really narrow. Okay, that's way too narrow. Okay. I'll just play with these numbers for a minute. Let's put in 200. Wow, is it really that big? It could be. Yeah, it is. Ah, of course. Yeah, this makes sense now. All right, let's do clear color. If I remember from the last stream, I already did a little system for this. Here we go, Hatscape, clear color. Cool. Let's grab that. Now, so we're having to make sure that we put the clear color before the render to texture. And the reason it's not working is smooth needs a trigger. So we're going to go to trigger receive. And we're going to grab T1. Feeling it was much snappier last time. That is unusual. -1 to 1. That must have been a mistake from last stream. I want it to be faster. This is the hats gate. I don't like it. It's too much. Profit, if I'm correct, is the bass. Yeah, okay. That I like. Let's put it on 4. Yeah, I'm liking the way this is going a lot better. Still a lot that can be done, but I'm definitely enjoying this a lot more now. This feels like it's tying together, basically. Whoops. I see this line at the top. So this comes because of the wrap mode. It's on repeat. So we need to put it on clamp to edge. And as you can see, we get rid of that just to show you again, because that went a bit quick. I don't like these artifacts at the top. It's got to do with the way the pixels are being interpolated. So put it on clamp to edge and get it the way that we want it. Okay, cool. Now, of course, let me take a look. We're using the profit gate right now to just... Now, I'm trying to think how I could do this with a MIDI controller. I wouldn't want everything to be black and white. You know, if this is VJ software, it's being used in a live environment, when people only get white light the whole time, they get really tired of this very, very quickly. From my experience, it becomes very overwhelming. This is why we have lights with color, I suppose. So you've got to go kind of easy with this. It's basically a strobe effect, right? So maybe we should do HSB to RGB. So we've got a number here. We've got a definable map range. Let's go 0.1 to 0.5. No clue how this is going to look right now. So we're going to get a red, plug it into red, green, blue. Like I said, I'm just building little components right now. Just go here, go there, tweak a bit there, tweak a bit here. I'm not trying to make this finished thing right now. No, that's a huge number. Let's put on 0.2. And the thing is, we could get this smoothed output, which is 0 to 0.8. Actually, let's do the we don't need this multiply. We want it to output between 0 and 1. And then we're going to use the map range to get our like kind of min maximum, right? Yeah, old min, old max, cool. So this we can now get, and let's plug it into brightness or saturation. Yeah, that's better. That's better. I like. Can still tweak it a lot more. There's a million things that we can do with this, but this is feeling more like how I would like it to react later on. Okay, so we've got this cool thing that we can do here with the mirror, right? Where we can make it like this. Gonna make a little note to self. Change X or Y. For full mirror effect. Now, if I wasn't doing the stream, I'd be typing like loads more of these comments in for later. They're my way to say, like, I open a patch up a month or two from now, and I don't have to remember everything. I've got like these keynotes for myself, right? Okay. Let's go wild. to make sense that this is actually here for the mirror effect. And this is just one of those little combos that you just, well, at least I think I just found, where I go, whoa, that's really cool. I can come up with a lot of different looks off this. I can just turn this effect on and just leave it there and just get a lot of different looks out of it, which I think is really cool. Yeah, because I'm not a big fan of the standard kaleidoscope effect. To me, you see that a little bit too much in the VJ scene, but that's just a personal preference of mine. I think it's cool if anybody's VJing in general and putting themselves out there. I mean, I'm normally not a big fan of the mirror effects, but I really like it like this, with this kind of thing. And I'm just curious. This is probably going to look absolutely terrible. But, you know, what would happen if I used this as a mask on the zoom blur? It's probably going to be terrible. It's not going to work, is it? Nah. Okay, so that's a little interesting part, and if we'd make this wider now, it'd do a lot more. Take it back. Just because you plug something in doesn't mean you always should. All right, there we go. So this is something else. So you know what? From now what I'm going to do is this. Everything I can control, for MIDI controller for later, I'm going to color it red. Effects that I want to manually alter. Okay. Yeah, the one thing I'm missing right now is that Zoom Blur would have a blend mode. That would be really useful right now. Actually, I'm gonna have to try and remember that for later. So if I make this a little bit there. Yeah, okay, there's a lot of looks we can get out of this. Now this, of course, I can make happen in time with the music, right? Why don't we do that? Let's reuse that part there that we did with the Prophet Gate. Actually, I only need this part. And now I'm going to use the... I don't know, we'll just see what works. Let's go over here. I'm just going to go back to the Ableton file for a minute. I'm just going to lower that mid synth that everybody said was a little bit heavy for the stream. Hopefully this is a little bit better now. All right. So we got Pulse and we got Prophet. Let's use the Pulse. Yeah, so we got the Prophet Gate. Let's get that. Did I label that stuff wrong? That's the bass trick on this. So yeah, Prophet Gate. Okay, let's do that. Smooth factor. Map range. Yeah, I don't even think I need that right now, but I'm just going to leave it plugged in, just so I can easily alter it later. So I'm not changing the smooth stuff right now. Let's grab the bass. So that could be a bit too much. this on 8 and this on 1. Yeah, I like the way this is going. Cool. Okay. Let's move this down here. Let's go into full screen mode. Yeah, guys, I might be talking a little bit less on the stream. I feel like I've got to focus a lot more. A little bit more difficult than the last one. But hey, I ain't a machine yet. Okay. So later on, I can do a lot of stuff like disable the mirror effect, right? Here we can see the effect of the depth texture focus, that it's illuminating parts of the city. So we can turn this on and off later. We can do this like this, or we can do it like that. We can get a lot of different looks out of this, which is really cool. What other post effects did I use? Not a whole lot, which is okay. Because right now I'm focused on the content. That was my displacement part. Okay. Now, stuff that I used to do with featuring in the past. You know what? Let's just actually let's get this part here. Oh. This is going to be my final render section, right? And it doesn't matter which patches I'm going to be working on later. I want this stuff over here. So I'm going to add a comment. Final post effects. And that's the reason I use this comment up is because when it's like this, then I can see all that stuff. This is just a backup. This old post effects. I'm probably going to delete it later, but like this part I did with the pixel displacement, I don't want to get rid of that right now. But I really like the way that this is all coming together. Like the camera, the motion of the mesh instancer and everything. It's I like it. And I've got everything on the whole time now. You know, traditionally for VJing, you wouldn't be doing that. You'd be turning elements on and off, and you have to come up with a kind of like if true then method of doing this later. I mean, like, let me just try this right now. So, you know, if I want to kind of like typically bypass something, then I can. It's a really cool simple op. So you just put in. Not if true then, right? So basically I'm going to put this on true and I get this, right? It's using the zoom blur now, and you know, this would be a really simple bypass because we just basically do this. It's a little thing I think a lot of people really forget to do, myself included. You know, the mighty if statement. So let's just move this over here. Yeah. So just to show you what's happening, don't forget when you go in flow mode, you slow the frame rate down a little bit, fixing the future. So like if I do this now, you know, it's flowing here and we're not using it, right? Do this, you know, so this is my way of turning these effects on or off. Like, it's like right, zoom blur right now doesn't have a blend amount, so I can only have it on or off. So this is a great way just to be able to turn it on and off, basically. All right. Okay. I really like these 3 dots on my shoulder. I don't know why my attention just keeps going to them. Okay. What to add next? I'm not too sure. I already like the way this has come together. So one thing I'm thinking about right now is like, typically I would have like this would just be one layer, right? So another layer would be like something else like literally behind it. So let's say that this render to texture stuff that I've got going on now and all this post-processing, there's one layer on like one full screen rectangle, and then I do some other stuff like this and that'd be a second layer. You'd have transparency in the top layer. So let's say that the clear color that you see there, you know, that might actually just be transparent. Maybe that wouldn't work in that setup. And then I could do a lot of mixing, right? I could say I got layer 1, like what you see there, layer 2 behind it, behind it. And I could say I only want you to see 1 or 2 or both, or I want to swap 1 and 2. That's like tricks that I used to do when I used to work with my own VJ software that I built back in the day. I'm not too sure how to build that right now with cables. Totally possible, just gotta sit down and think about it for a little while. Okay. Now I'm just trying to think what else we could do here. I mean, we've got a lot of candy that we could add. I mean, chromatic aberration is always kind of nice. I always like it with a kind of smooth effect. This is like way too much. And this just lets us get a little bit of color in. And we've got the blend amount here, so like 1. Put it on 1. It's way too much, but I'm just cranking it up so you guys can see this. I've got it on clamped edge, but I'm still getting some stuff popping out of the screen. Alright, that's something to look at some other time. Okay, no worries. Now, post-processing is like an art into itself. I don't want to focus on it all too much right now. I'm trying to think, you know, like chromatic aberration is, to me, not a very dynamic effect, like mirror. You know, I can do this, and I've got a completely different style of what's going on the screen. And this is like it's a wonderful one-trick pony. You know, it's something that's normally used more subtly. So if I go down here and I scroll on the left, let me say texture effects. I think I did this in the last stream. Just trying to think of something. My brain's just tickling me with an idea right now. Yeah, I'm not going to go into fog right now. Yeah, I'm not even started thinking about how to do transitions right now from one layer to another. Okay. Screen space ambient occlusion could be nice. You know what I'm just thinking about? Okay, so right now, so I want to try stuff out now about like plugging in the MIDI controller. So I'm going to make a sidebar up just to try a few things. I like using the sidebar because you know, like maybe I don't plug my MIDI controller and I leave it somewhere and I forget what things are being used. And the sidebar is just a great way to just like have a couple of key parameters that you can turn. So I just want to have a way to just basically disable all of this post-processing. So I'm just going to do another if true then. This is like my global bypass for everything underneath, right? I mean, like if I press F for flow mode, everything's off, on. So I'm actually going to go here and I'm just going to make a toggle. Output's a bool. I'm going to call this global FX. I'm going to connect that here. Turn it off. Great. Okay. Working it piece for piece. So I'm going to do this. set number. And I'm going to call this, create a new variable. I'm going to call it cubes spacing. And now we're going to go. I don't want to rebuild this, so I'm going to do. Basically, if I use the multiply here, it's going to be like rebuilding the whole thing. It's not really terribly expensive, but I'd rather just do it like this, I think. Sorry, one moment. Okay. So, by the way, I think I just noticed that Flux was kicking in. It's a thing to lower the amount of blue-white light out of my monitor. Apologies for that, I forgot to turn it off. Felt like everything was getting a bit reddish. Wow, okay, it's bright again. Sorry. Okay, so what did I want to do? Yeah, var get number, there we go. And then I'm gonna plug this into cube spacing. So I'm going to disable global FX. So you know I can put the shapes really close together. I didn't say this would work out exactly, but now I've got this more full screen. I can put the spacing up there. And you know, we can make this slider go past 1. So the thing is, when my patch loads, let's go over here. I want the default to be 1. So I say set default. I'm going to put the max down too. So now I can spread them out more. It's kind of a way for me to, outside of the array logic, control how much things are on the screen right now, I suppose. I'm just making this more of a mental note. I know I don't want it to go lower than 0.5 because then I just lose everything. So that's great. So I'll just go here and put the minimum on 0.5. And as you can see, I can get a lot of different looks. And I think it's okay if everything like occasionally vanishes for like a few seconds or a second or two. I mean, you know, it's not meant to be perfection, you know, in my opinion. I think it's really cool that things just, accidents can happen. You know, to quote my favorite painter, there's no such thing as mistakes, only happy accidents. And I like happy accidents in the stuff that I do. Yeah, so look at that. By putting it even on 0.5, we're getting this like more massive, monolithic like look on the screen. You know, so this is pretty cool. I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. All right, I'm gonna save it. Okay. Yep. This is pretty cool. So I think the last thing I'm gonna do right now is, I'm not sure. I'm getting a bit tired. I notice. It's been a focused session so far. It all feels still pretty minimal, but it feels really much more like it's going the right way right now. Like there's a huge amount of things we could do here. We can like shift, we can swap geometry out. Right. Let's just see what's gonna happen then. So that's the mesh class, right? I just got a really silly idea there, which is probably really cool, but not a good idea to do right now. I'm just curious. I'm just curious. It's just to get the ideas in there. Don't have to be perfect right now. So I do root trigger. I don't need the next. I'm going to put cube on 1. I'm going to put pyramid on 2. It's not liking that. So let's do this. Now we're going to do root. Sorry, I mean switch. Do we have a switch geometry or is it just switch object? I think it's just switch object. Yeah, let's just do it with this one. So line geometry wasn't very happy with that. Not sure what's going on there. I'm going to just save and reload. Might just need to reinitialize it there. I'm not too sure what that is. Okay. Looks like I found a bug. Also the advantage of doing stuff with the screen, with the stream, I suppose. Okay. Let's just see if I reload this now, if I get it there. It's a shame because I really like the pyramid. Okay, so I do really think that's just with the pyramid up. Ah! Right, okay, yeah, I was rendering the pyramid. Okay, look. Alright, and that's being affected by something that blah. Alright, so it's like with the cube here, we don't have it on active. If we do, we get that glitch. I'll figure out why some other day. Let's put this here now. So this is another cool thing that I want to just remember for later. So I'm gonna go up here, go into my sidebar section, and this might be more than one shape later. I'm just putting the pieces in place so I don't forget them later. I'm going to call it shape select. Whoops. Let's try that again. I'm going to put it in steps of 1. Min 0, max 1 for now, and this means I can only do this, but later on if I want to add another shape I can put the max on 2 and then change that. So I'm going to do for set number, I'm going to call this shape select instancer. Okay, whoa, down here. Okay, so go here, get number. Shape select instancer. So now I can swap between these two. Cool. I could go wild later. I could like do a really simple thing of array logic where like I could determine how many of them are cubes and how many of them are kind of like pyramids. But that'd require a bit of a rebuild, which I don't want to do right now. Okay. Great, let's save it. So I've got a couple of pieces here in place. So then I'm going to put the prisms on. Can increase the space between them, put them closer together. Yeah, I like it. This is going the right way. I like it. And you know, later on I can do a part with the depth texture focus, like is that even added, right? You know, if we go here, I can do this. I mean, I've got that on add, you know what happens if I put it on just a multiply? get this right. Well, let me put this back, sorry. I'll just go through a few blend modes. Normal. So normal means it's like overwriting everything. Light in, darken, multiply, invert. It's a lot of tweaking to get it all right. But that's okay. I think light in is better actually than add. Yeah, let's just go with that for now. Okay, cool. All right. So like I said, the whole idea later on is that this final post effects section there, I can just easily swap between textures, because like optimizing the patch to have a huge amount of things in it is also really important, but it's really a lot easier than a lot of people think. Okay, let me just do this on. Okay. Yeah, by the way, have this on. There we go. Yeah, that was okay. So now I could start adding stuff here like bypass, zoom blur, and things like that into this sidebar menu. But I'm not going to do that right now. And you know, like we get a completely different effect. You know, if the zoom blur happens before the edge detection or afterwards, it's probably going to look cleaner, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. Okay. All right, cool. Now, and notice I'm running a little bit out of steam right now. Kind of already pointed it out, still drawing a pyramid. Yeah, man, let's figure it out. Thanks for pointing it out. So I noticed I'm running a little bit out of steam. It's 9:47. Been going on for a little while right now. I'm really happy with the progress that I'm making with building some VJ software and cables. I think it's Chromatic. Let's plug that in. I think it's going the right way. And the cool part is, if all goes well, I should probably be able to get a different track from the musician Obverse, which will have the same MIDI data that it outputs, but I'm not going to change this. And then we can like switch up the music on the stream, but you know the visuals are still going to respond, basically, which is really, really cool. In the future, I also want to make this that is audio reactive. So I'm probably going to be asking Ronnie Richtick for a DJ set, which I can just then throw into cables as like a really big WAV file, I suppose, or MP3, I mean. Do audio analysis on that on like 3 or 4 bands. I've already done this in some tutorials before. It'd be really interesting to work on this VJ software with like the Ableton approach, and like let's just say you go to a dance venue or a dance hall, and then you know all you've got is like the audio stream, the audio output from the DJ. There's a whole host of problems that come into that, like you know if they've gone into the red, you should use a DI box up front so you can still keep some of the dynamics. There's a lot of things that we can cover, because I mean I would really love it if somewhere in the near future, you know, that I can just like live VJ with this, and that's the whole idea, right? So that'd be a really beautiful thing to do. So I think I'm gonna be rounding up the stream right now, because like I said, I noticed I'm getting a bit tired. Started at like 7:30. Yeah, it's almost 10 o'clock. It's 2.5 hours. That's okay, that's not bad for the length of the stream, and I'm happy with how this came out so far. So, I'd just like to ask the people that are still watching, does anybody have any questions that they'd like to ask in general? Because I'm not the only one here. We've also got the rest of the Undev team in the chat room right now. Let's put the music down a little notch, so if I'm talking, people can just understand what I'm saying. So yeah, in the next stream, I'm going to show you how I'm going to tackle this problem of having like one old scene I did. Whether I'm going to keep it or not isn't the point, and how to like put it into a kind of like system where I can swap between this and the previous one. That should go really quick. And basically, I've already got quite a few ideas right now where I think I can continue to kind of like go further with this kind of like mesh instance framework that I've got here. The cool part is like all this stuff that I've got here now, you know, I can just really just copy and paste this and just modify it and make some really cool, amazing stuff happen with that. It doesn't only have to be like this. This was a nice tryout, and I think it's going to be a really great way to create a lot of like generative visuals, because you've got to imagine this like on a screen, which is huge and massive on a stage of a DJ in front of it normally, or like the screens are at the side, you know, but when you see this stuff on a computer screen on the stream, it's very different than if you're in a dance hall and it's really big and massive and it's going in and out there with the lights. And I've got a lot of really is Max for Live? No, actually none of this Wiley98, none of this is Max for Live. This is just all basic MIDI, which is being sent out of Ableton Live to cables, as you can see here. So if you don't know how that works, just go over to our YouTube channel. We got a video from 2 weeks ago where I set up the whole framework and show how I connect Ableton Live to Cables GL, and if you've watched that, it's no problem. We've also got 1 or 2 tutorial videos specifically built just for that. They're not part of the stream, and they also show you how to get MIDI data inside of cables from an external DAW digital audio workstation. It doesn't only have to be Ableton Live. I hope that answers your question. All right, so is there anybody else with any other questions? I'm going to give it a minute or two for people to ask anything that they want. Okay, seems to be a bit late. Not a lot of questions from people, which is totally fine, by the way. No, Steam, I will not be publishing this patch later. There's quite a few reasons for that. It's not going to be very useful without the Ableton Live file that I'm currently using. I'd actually like to look at a way to, I'll have to speak to Panda about that. Panda, with a way to maybe get these MIDI tracks in as MIDI JSON data, so they can just be self-contained inside of the patch, because a lot of people don't have Ableton Live 10. So, you know, they just wouldn't be able to do anything with this right now. And I want to work more on the patch, basically. And, you know, I don't know yet. I'll have to think about it. I mean, you know, I want to build my VJ software with cables. You know, pretty much anybody that's determined enough can follow a lot of the steps here to do whatever it is they want to do, basically. So I'm not out about that. Yeah, it's a good question. But this is also, it just needs a huge cleanup, basically. You know, this isn't at all in a state to be released as far as I'm concerned. We'll just have to see about that. I think getting the MIDI data in as JSON files, making it a self-contained thing, that's definitely the way to go with this. It's a good question. I didn't actually think about it, because normally we publish the stuff we do like with Copycat and things like that, but because it's like codependent on this live MIDI stuff coming from live, I didn't consider that yet. Alright, I'm going to give it another minute. If anyone else asks a question, then I'll stay in the stream and I'll continue to ask questions. You guys can keep me here for at least another half hour if you want. Just wait 1 whole minute, ask a question, wait a whole minute, ask a question. Okay, it looks like there's no other questions coming in, which is totally fine. I'd like to give a very big thank you to everybody that once again came into the stream tonight and followed and participated. It's really cool that all you lovely people are coming in. I hope you've enjoyed the exploration of so far building VJ software with cables. There's so many different things I want to show you guys with this, and there's only so many hours in the evening, and it's okay. This doesn't have to happen quickly, right? It's live streaming. If this goes on for another month or two and people enjoy watching it and see where it goes and they learn a lot of new tricks, then that'd be awesome. And then I'm really happy with that. I'm not too sure what we're going to be doing in the stream next week. We're discussing things right now. Maybe I'll get a little live update from the Undev team in a moment about that. Just give it a moment. Just waiting for Panda. He's alright, okay. I'm just gonna wait for a confirmation. Just give me a moment, everybody. Well, you know what, everybody? I'll just say it this way because I think we're a little bit undecided right now. So, Panda and Steam, they'd like to do, it's a really cool topic, by the way, they'd like to do a stream episode which goes through the various HTML and CSS ops that we've got inside the cables, because they're really powerful, amazing ops if you know when to use them. You can really leverage the power of web technology inside of your cables patches. So I'm not sure right now. There's a chance that they might be doing it on Thursday night this week or on Tuesday night next week. The moment we know something about that, the banner page for our Twitch profile channel will be updated. With that, I'll update when the next stream will be, and of course we'll also post all that onto the standard social media channels like Twitter and Facebook and things like that. So we've not decided yet, but we want to just put it out there that that's going to be coming up. So it could be this week, it could be next week, we're not sure yet. So yeah. That's definitely on the planning. So as you can see, we're still playing around with this platform and the stuff that we can be doing. And if you miss it, don't worry about it. You can watch it back on Twitch, and we always upload every recording that we do to YouTube, so you don't miss anything. So don't worry about it. All right, everybody. I'd like to last time thank you very much for joining us tonight. It's been really good to have everybody here, and I've had a great time working on this. So I'm going to wish all you lovely people a really good night. Stay cool, stay safe. I hope you're all making really cool stuff with Cables GL and making your own patches. Got any questions? Come over to the forums, hit us up there. You got something cool, publish your patch, put it out there. Who knows, maybe we'll grab it and we'll highlight it on the social media so you'll get eternal fame and glory. Hey, kind of cool, right? So I hope you all have a lovely night, and I'll see you on the next stream. Thanks for dropping by. All right, goodbye.